Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Presidential Address Part 3. On this show, we're going to look at Buffalo and Washington, Atlanta and Detroit, and Chicago against Kansas City. Also, what we're going to be doing moving forward is at the end of Part 3 every week, I will give you 3 teasers that I actually am betting. So make sure to stay with us all the way to the end. Guys, check out Part 1 and Part 2. We had 4 games that we took apart in Part 1, including the Thursday night football game, both side and total. And in Part 2, we took apart 2 games there, including the sexy New England Patriots and New York Jets game. Okay, let's get straight into this one, shall we? Buffalo on the road playing Washington. We initially had a 7 on tap. It has been bet down, and I think rightfully so. We've got a 6.5 now all across the board, and a total in this game of 44 points. Okay, so let me start by saying this. We saw the real Buffalo stand up on Sunday. After letting the Raiders score 7 points on them, they buckled down and dominated that football game completely. They literally outscored the Raiders 38-3 and were full beast mode on both sides of the ball. With that said, I've been telling everybody that Sam Howell is for real and that this Washington team is much better than most people think. I frankly believe this Washington team is a buy team moving forward. And they showed us that against Denver. Not only did they win the game, but guys, I can't stress enough how important it is for the mental psyche of a team to make a comeback and then still win that game. This Washington team has to feel good about themselves. With that said, this is a hard game to bet from a side perspective. I very rarely bet against Buffalo. I'm very bullish on them. I took them to win the division. And it is, but I can't bet them here. 7 points on the road against a 2-0 team seems a bit much to me. So why not take the Commodores? Well, firstly, they haven't had a hit since Easy Like Sunday Morning, and that was back in the 70s. And secondly, they haven't really played anyone yet. I'm going to pass on the side in this game, but I will look to take the over. Now, I know everybody is sitting there thinking, but Buffalo is a great defense, and Washington has a young QB. This young QB has weapons everywhere, and that is no exaggeration. And Washington has averaged 27.5 points per game already this year. They're in the top 10 in the league in scoring, and they will likely stay around there. We know Buffalo can score. We know they can score quick. And although they stunk it up against the Jets, this offense will be in the top 5 in scoring all year long. Why is this total so low? It's low because people think these two teams have great defenses, and they do. But look closely. Only one really has a world-class D. Washington's D is great, but they're not world-class. Buffalo's D is, but I still think Washington will get them theirs. They did put up a ton on the Broncos. Buffalo's averaging 27 points a game, and that'll go on all year long. I think we're going to see a 27-23 type game, which is 50 points. 24-21 gets us to 45 points. And I think that is likely as well. I lean on Washington here, but my actual bet is going to be Buffalo and Washington over the total of 44.5. Now we turn our attention to Atlanta against Detroit, and this line is plummeting. Sunday night, Detroit was minus 4.5. Right now, they are currently at -3. That is unbelievable movement. It is so hard to move a line off of 3.5 to 3. There is a ton of money coming in on Atlanta. The total has been bet up to 46, but I'm going to stick to the side on this game. As I said, a ton of money has been bet on Atlanta, and I believe the books will be keeping that money. I love the Lions in the spot. I ask myself, what would the line be if Detroit beat Seattle and Atlanta lost to Green Bay? Now, I understand those are 2 big what ifs, but keep in mind, Atlanta should have lost to Green Bay and Detroit should have beat the Hawks. I think we're looking at -7 if that happens. But instead, all we're getting is a field goal. This Lions team is good. Really, really good. Sure, they lost to the Hawks, but they did have 3 turnovers, which literally cost them the game. And still, they were able to mount a comeback and get this game into overtime. Now, also keep in mind, Jared Goff is not prone to turnovers. That was an aberration game. As for the Falcons, this might be the worst. Okay, not the worst 2-0 team in the league. New Orleans and Tampa Bay might argue, but they're not a very good football team. It's not like they are Chicago Bears shitty, but this team, they'll end up 9-8 at the most. And the only reason for that is they get to play the other 2 shitty 2-0 teams, Tampa Bay and New Orleans, and also Carolina, twice. It's more likely they end around 7-10 on the year, and 2 of those wins, well, they're already in the bank. Detroit's D is for real, guys, and they will harass Ritter all game long. They should be able to bottle up the run. The Lions have allowed an average of 86 yards on the ground against them this year in both games. Here's the issue for the Falcons. Detroit is going to eat. That is for sure. This team is going to put up points. They should be able to put up points, say 17 points in the first half alone, and they should be able to get up by 2 scores. Once they're up by 2 scores, this Falcons offense is going to have to go one-dimensional. They're going to move into a pass-style offense, and that is where the game will fall apart for them. I think we see a double-digit win here for Detroit, and especially after they not only lost their last game, but lost it by shooting themselves in the foot. This is a huge bounce-back situation for the Lions and a big-time letdown spot for the Falcons. Take Detroit -3 against Atlanta. Now we turn our attention to the most incredible football team the world has ever seen, the Chicago Crappers. They're playing Kansas City this week, and Chicago is +13. Wow. I very rarely lay 13 points here, guys. But really, I might lay 20. I'm laying the points in this game. Yes, even at 13. Frankly, I would take this game at 16.5. Everybody who watches my shows know I think Fields is a disaster. And the Bears, they're even worse. This team can't stop anyone. They can't run the ball. They can't pass the ball. They can't coach. They don't even know what a ball looks like. They think they're playing soccer. They're in the baseball category. That's how many points this team scores. Baseball time points. They can't get out of their own damn way. Side note, name the last Ohio State quarterback that had any type of career in the league. The answer, Joe Burrow. And that is all. I can't think of one other Ohio State quarterback that has any semblance of a career in the last 15 years. So the pathetic joke of a team known as the Chicago Bears is playing the team I think could win the Super Bowl again this year. Let's take a look at Kansas City. Their offense has been out of sync for 2 weeks. Does that worry me? Not at all. This is a team that will get it together and a team that will average close to 30 points a game. This is a team that knows how to get it done. This is a team that knows how to score points. Pat Mahomes is a guy that knows how to get the best out of everybody around him. And the fact that Kelce, as I call him, is coming in after he missed week 1, I think we'll see better chemistry out of that team. But put their offense aside. Let's look at their defense. That's what should worry the entire league. Kansas City defense is lighting it up right now. Jacksonville, who can score on anyone, put up 9 points against Kansas City. And the Lions, who will likely average somewhere around 30 points a game by the end of it all, they put up 14 on them. Yeah, I know it was 21, but there was a defensive touchdown in there, and that one doesn't count. So if Jacksonville can put up 9 points on Kansas City, how many points could Chicago put up? -4. It'll be the first game in history where there will be a minus on the scoreboard. okay, joking aside, let's say that Chicago puts up 17 points. That's like unheard of, but let's give them 17. How many will KC get on this Chicago defense? Any amount they damn well want. Let's go with 31. I see a 31-17 game, maybe even worse, 37-17, 31-3, 31-7, whatever the case may be. I can't come up with a way Chicago keeps this game close. Take Kansas City minus the 13. Now let's look at the two teasers, and I am betting both of these plays, guys. They are both 2-team 6-point teasers. I'm taking Jacksonville and New Orleans in one of those teasers, and I'm taking Baltimore and Miami in the other one. That's Jacksonville and New Orleans and Baltimore and Miami. That's it for the show, everyone. Lots of love. Let's kick ass in week 3. Make sure to check out part 1 and part 2. I'm Lawrence Presman. It's been an honor.